Hey folks, Ken here, how you doing? Sunday afternoon here in Dublin. Not sunny, but not as breezy as it's been, so it does feel that bit warmer. Just looking at the pond this morning, looking at it out of the house, given all the stuff is gone, it looks a lot cleaner, so I am definitely happier with the net. I did have the heron sitting just here for the food container is this morning. I have a blink camera up here and it is motion activated, but for some reason the heron doesn't activate the camera. Not too sure why. I think there might be a slight delay on it, just to stop false activations, and maybe the heron just comes in and by their nature they tend to drop in, stay very still and try and lure fish and then do what they do. What I think I'll do is I'll get another camera and mount it up here on the shed which overlooks the pond, give me a better view. But what I was able to do with the blink was set it up to take a photograph every hour, and lo and behold, when I started doing that a couple of weeks ago, every second day or so the heron is sitting on the wall or the window watching the fish. What slightly concerned me this morning was previous times he's been there's been no sign of the fish at all. The window has been clear, so they were obviously retreated to the depths of the pond for safety. When he was there this morning, the fish were all, as they are now, around the window, so slightly concerning, but everybody looks present and safe, so that will continue hopefully. What I'll try and do later on in the video is put a clip of that heron in. It's just a photograph to save a few seconds, but you see him sitting there. What I'm going to do today is, and first of all thanks to Steve Wainwright from Cat and Oi. Steve put in a comment when he saw what I was doing with the skimmer line, just to try and take the water out of it and Tech 7 it up. As I said yesterday, I did try it before when it was operating and it didn't work. I think Tech 7, yeah, it does cure when it's underwater, but not when the water is flowing against it. So I'm going to have to try and stop the water. That's Tyson, by the way. You would have seen Odie yesterday, our beagle. That's Tyson, our German Shepherd. You'll never see both of them in the same photograph because they don't get on, unfortunately, but that's a whole other video. So what I'm going to do, Steve suggested, was maybe just bung it up here and then go in on the filter side and drain down the pipe, and it's probably a better idea. It will still use a bit of water. I'll top up from the back, but probably not as much as dropping the pond down beyond the skimmer. So I'm going to give that a try. Thanks to Steve for that. He also suggested maybe threading this end. The net is threading a stick through, and I'll try and do that, maybe just to give it a bit of rigidity here. I might do away with these things, as you saw yesterday when I tried to stretch it from both sides. The net like that just doesn't work. So what I'll do is I'll put the camera on the tripod and I'm going to stick this yoke in and block up the skimmer. Catch you in a sec. Right, here we go. This hasn't been as straightforward as I thought. I thought it would be a matter of just dropping this in and screwing it and securing it. It expands the rubber as you screw down on the two metal plates, but there was a fair difference in size between, so these needs to be compressed. So what I needed to do was bring it over to the garage and put it in the vise and compress it. So I'll just drop it in there and it's fairly secure. I suppose the water will hold it in place. Not exactly what I would have liked to do with it, although I think it is fairly secure. As well as that, it is got zinc, and zinc long term is not good in a koi pond, but it's only going to be there for 24 hours max. So that's it, Ian. I would have liked to get it in and then turn the screw on it and just compress it against the side, but it's not possible. You just can't get a turn on it at all either way at the minute. So I'll sit it on top and see how I do, and I'll go inside and try and drain down the filter. Cheers. Right, so what I've done now is, first of all, I drained down the filter. So I just closed all the inlets and let the pump run. And as you can see, there's still a fair bit of water on the dirty side. So what I want to do is get that down and then open up the skimmer in the center and just release any water pressure that's in there. I know I'm not going to drain it completely, but even if I just release the water pressure, I need to stop water flowing out through that leak for at least 24 hours. So this will tell us whether my boom is working on the other end as well, by how much water is coming through. So I'll just go and switch on the trusty back. Right, whacking away. Just get out of it. There's a bit of debris in there as well, as ever. Not much, because I did do a drain flush there a couple of weeks ago. So, seems worse. Do now is just take it off the ground and see if you can see it there. Turn off the vac. So as you can hear me, that actually looks okay. So we have a very slight trickle now, slowing down to nothing. So that's pretty good. I'm not going to drain that pipe completely. I think the best I can do with it is just take the pressure off it and hopefully stop the leak long enough to get Tech 7 on it. Not the end of the world if I don't, it's very slight. But now what I'll do is I will just open up. I'll leave that closed so as the filter doesn't fill it up again. And I'll open up my two getting old, two bottom drains, and there's a fair amount of crap that's come in there. It'll go into the drum, you can see there. And that's actually more than when I did it a couple of weeks ago. I think I'll get that back out before I go any further. Obviously coming in on the drum side is going to be clean, it's just the drum will be dirty. Yeah, I'll definitely give that a vac out. Get rid of that debris, let it settle for a minute. So what I'll do then is I'm going to start up the pond again, and I'll just see you outside and we'll see. You'll find, I think, that the pond has dropped a fair bit. You can even see here on the dirty side, that's the level it should be at, and that's the level it's now at. So, you know, even just through draining the filter, it obviously pumps more water out into the pond. It overflows in the overflow in the skimmer. So we still, I don't know whether this makes much difference as to doing it, you know, in terms of dropping the level of the pond down, but worth a try, and it gives me a chance, I suppose, to flush those bottom drains again, and it kind of looks as though they need it. So I'll just give this a quick vac here, won't bore you with the details of that, and then I'll see you outside and we'll see what kind of level the pond is at. Right, I've got everything up and running again. I'm not going to run the back part, I'm going to use that to top off the pond. We'll have a look at that in a second. Just I'll do a manual flush and just see what comes out of the inside of the drum after that quite messy bottom drain flush. Yep, as you can see, a fair bit in there. So we'll now just pop outside now and have a look at the pond itself. Here we go, back out at the pond. You can see by the skimmer there, probably doing it that way, I've saved myself probably an inch or so of water, which is probably not bad. I mean, an inch or so of water in this pond is a few 100 litres. So that's worked out fairly well, but you can see the water is down. It's down a good 2.5 inches, and that's just flushing out the filter. The filter, I reckon, is about 700 to 800 litres, but I didn't flush it out completely, so it's probably about 600 litres or so. You can say hello below I am my overflow as opposed to earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick my butt pump into the back and use that to quickly top up the front. I've done that before, and then I'm going to leave the back turned off while I do this job. So what I'll do is, for the first hour or so, I'm going to thoroughly dry off under that very bottom 90 degree you can see there, and it's the top part underneath where the moisture is. So I'll clean it off and just make sure it has stopped leaking. Hopefully it should have. And then I'll stick some Tech 7 all around it, and leave it until about this time tomorrow, and then I can start turning things on again. In the meantime, while I top up the front with the back, I can just use the hose to top up the back again and have it ready. And then really when I go to turn everything on again tomorrow, it's just a skimmer line that I have to fill up with water again. Although, you know, it's a 110mm pipe, so it's probably still a couple of 100 litres of water, but it shouldn't take too long to top everything off again. But it just shows with a gravity system, you know, you drop the level in the pond a couple of inches, obviously drops in the filter a couple of inches, and then the filter, just particularly a drum, doesn't work as it should, and it starts rinsing more than it needs to because the float switch is down lower than it should be. Could do adjustments, but that's messy. I have it set up the way I want it to do, so I don't want to be messing around with the float switch. So I'll go with this, and as I say, the stopper, leave it there, seems to be doing its job. I'd say if there's anything getting through, it's about a drip, but I think it's more the pressure in the pipe than it is water in the pipe that's causing the problem. You'd imagine there, right on the 90 degree, there shouldn't be much water there, so hopefully it'll be dry enough. So what I'm going to do is I'll top this off, won't bore you with my Tech 7, and in 24 hours we'll come back and I'll show you me turning everything back on again, and then we'll know fairly soon whether my Tech 7ing of the pipe has been a success or not. Okay, talk to you then. Cheers. Right folks, quick update. Unfortunately, sealing off the skimmer line wasn't successful. As I said to you yesterday with this yoke, I just couldn't compress it enough by hand to get it to seal up the hole. I did have it in place, but I checked this morning and there was still a leak there. Now, in one positive note, I did determine that the leak is on the right hand side. As you're looking there, you can see there's more Tech 7 than you would think you would get on it. The leak was still there, even though the skimmer wasn't running. So I have Tech 7'd the hell out of it if I didn't think that was possible to do before. When I took this yoke out, the skimmer line was already full of water, so it obviously was doing nothing When I opened the skimmer line inside on the gate valve, there was a bit of an airlock there, but didn't drop the pond by very much, if anything at all. So on the whole, not successful. Certainly wouldn't recommend these yokes. I don't know how you're supposed to tighten them up into a 3-inch hole, but there you go. Let's see, I really laid the Tech 7 on thick, where I'm fairly sure on that far side the hole is, so we'll see if it washes through. There's not much I can do. As I say, at the end of the day, it's relatively minor. I'm not overly concerned about it, so I'll leave it at that. Oh, by the way, just before this last segment, I did put up a still photo of my heron sitting in the far corner there watching the fish, and there was a few fish up around the window, so I still have that problem. I'll still do some thinking about the net and come back to that at some stage, but in the meantime, thanks, all the best.